Hi, Mario. Hi, Syria. How are you?
Hi.
How you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful. So, what are your questions today?
Yeah, of course. So the featured question for today is for EB1A applicants, what resources are you using to provide supporting data for the high salary criterion? How are you handling documentation for past years, such as 2022? Any insights would be greatly appreciated.
Wonderful. One thing I always like to say, Mario, that when it comes to the salary criteria, people think in terms of volume, in terms of the figures. And they think, okay, how much are they earning capacity of an individual is being assessed by virtue of this particular criteria. But in my perspective, it is not the case like this. It's actually what is being assessed is not your earning capacity or potential. What is being assessed here is the value of your expertise. That's the most important thing. And yes, of course, you need to give an evidence of that actually, that how much is your value. People are valuing your expertise, and they are potential your employers or somebody else who is availing your services by virtue of your expertise. So I always like to kind of create a documentation that establishes this fact more in a very robust and in a very articulate manner. In fact, for some people, for select students in the program, we in fact give a certain documentation that establishes this. Just to put a case in point, I will share with you something interesting. So there is a documentation we kind of give it to the USCIS itself actually, that in terms of documentation, how uh, your one's salary would be at, I won't say pinnacle, but at the top end of expertise that would position a person at an expertise actually. That's the whole idea about the salary criteria we like to do. And in terms of documentations, yes, you need to compare how much people in comparison you are drawing with others as compared to people in their same expertise. Now here comes a question that people do want to connect it to their expertise with reference to the SOC code, which necessarily may not be always a good idea. I repeat, it's not necessary to, in my perspective, it is not necessary to connect your expertise to your SOC code of your H1 if you're on H1B or any other, kind of job that you're doing. That's not the objective of the criteria. I have even seen, and some people in the program also have used 0000 SOC codes actually. And it has been pretty successful. Let's put it that way. So, having said that, it's not required. But if somebody wants to further strengthen, we have another model. Actually, this is a based on a patented model we have, where we list down all your evidences and actually do a Bayesian statistical analysis model actually, and we run a simulation using. And this is a patented process for many people who don't know. We try to give a very robust, kind of an expert evaluation based on every piece of evidence what you are doing. What we have seen is that at least when I kind of showed you the previous document, for example, this one, at least out of 45 people, 30 plus people would have used this documentation actually here. And these documentations basically help to articulate your evidences in a very clear manner. And in terms of evidences, yes, you can use a comparable sites, whether it is 2022 or before or even after that. You need to get a letter from your employer establishing your expertise and connecting it to your income that you are drawing. And if you follow this, I think that should not be a problem actually. That's my conviction. So I think let's move to the next question.
Absolutely. So our next question is, hi, I'm preparing my profile for EB1A and I have a few questions. Do invited talks as a speaker count as media coverage for EB1A, or do they fall under the different criterion?
Okay,
What qualifies?
hold on.
Yeah.
Let us do one question at a time here. Now, I mean, congratulations on embarking on your EB1 journey. That's very important, actually. So, as a speaker, if you are going, it's not about it also matters where are you speaking. I mean, obviously, if you are doing certain event or certain activity which is of no consequence, that won't matter. But assuming that it is at some international conference you are presenting, or is it at a school? Is it at a college? Is it at what place you are talking about? So what position you are talking, in what capacity, who is the audience, is it live, is it online, or is it offline, is it in person event, or kind of, so you have to be very kind of articulate about it. So do invited talks? Yes, definitely. So you have been invited. Now who has invited you, why they have invited you, is it related to your expertise? Now if that event is covered by the media, definitely you should use it. But whether then you have to go into the elements required for the media category, whether are they fulfilling it? If not, it might still strengthen your existing speaking engagement. If you have submitted a paper, then it would be a scholarly article. If you have been a conference, then I would rather use it for final merit determination, actually. So you have to kind of do this in that particular order, I would say that. Otherwise, it depends on the context and what you're talking about. So there are people in our program who have kind of used this and extensively use it, or sometimes it can even go as a comparable events. What exactly you are talking about would be the two. So what's the second question, Siriano?
The second question is, what qualifies as an original contribution under EB1A criteria, and how should it be demonstrated?
Wonderful. I love this question actually, because many people keep on asking about original contribution. You see, as I mentioned, that original content, and I will go a little elaborate on this. Original contribution can manifest itself in three ways. One is that you have written some scholarly article and that is contributing to the field itself actually. So, and there is some kind of an impact that has happened because of the work that you are doing, something very original that you have done. It is original, scientific, or a scholarly, or a business. So there are very clear cut. You have to go into the definition of each and every component of the criteria what we are talking about. First is it has to be original. It means you have to show that you have done it. So evidence for that also you have to give. It's a contribution. There has been some kind of a work product that you have demonstrated. That is something that you have to do. The third is it has to be significant. Now, how do you measure and you have to define all these terms. So what is a measure? Significant means what? It has impacted. What is the impact that you have done because of the work? It could be a business related. You started a strategy, you created a framework. It is maybe the patent is still in process. So it is like all these things when you do, then it goes into, kind of significance of the criteria that is very important actually. So, I would rather say and then it has to be relevant to the field. All these components will have to get dialed up. So the first way original contribution will manifest itself as original is when you look at from a scholarly article. Second, it could be because of the nature of the job that you are doing. It could come from a critical role. You created a certain structure which, if competitors were to use it, it is your own personal body of knowledge actually, which has impacted the field or outside. It cannot be, the benefit cannot be within the framework of the organization that you are doing. It has to be, impact has to be large scale actually. So that's the second part. And third is Excel. It could be standalone. It could be because of the nature of work that you are doing. It is not in your company and you have not done a paper, but it itself has a very powerful impact that will help you out actually. So original contribution has to be demonstrated in this particular manner, in which how many people are getting impacted, and also it will have to go to granular to that level of extent actually, I would say that. So what's the third question?
The third question is, do international fellowship counts as award for EB1A, or do they need to meet the specific conditions?
International fellowship, I mean, I'm not sure what kind of fellowship we are talking about. If it is a student fellowship, absolutely not. It is of no consequence. I mean, I don't think for EB1A it matters actually here. It might matter for other things, but not for EB1A in my perspective. International fellowship, but if it is something like, if you have got into something like an SN over fellowship, Jefferson fellowship, which is for journalists, I guess. Something like this, if you have got, which basically shows that you are an expert in your endeavor and you have been given a platform and you were kind of addressing certain issues, I think that would really be useful actually in my perspective actually here. So international fellowship from that perspective would be useful. Otherwise, I don't think it is of any consequence for your EB1 journey. Yeah. What's next?
So our last question for this anonymous participant is, what type of activities qualify under the judging role criterion for EB1A? And would serving as a reviewer for a journal or conference panels count?
It can count, definitely it can count, as long as it is connected to your expertise or your auxiliary expertise, something. For example, if you are in machine, AI is your expertise, and you are talking about judging in a peer review for AI, computer science, that could at least be connected, but you will have to demonstrate that connection and the impact of your work that you have to do. It is definitely possible. So this gentleman, what or a lady has asked, 4 questions from a profile building perspective. One was about a speaker. I think we have addressed this. Second was about original contribution. I think we went into deep dive into it. The third is fellowship, which I think we said no. And the activities and judging is fairly simple actually. But one thing is certain, that if you're talking about a judging role, don't try to get into a criteria just to prove that you are, judging should not be akin to, let's say, for example, if it is a part of your job. So it has to be, as far as possible, it has to be outside your, kind of a scope of the organization that you are doing. So then it should be good, I think so. So good, congratulations, and wish you all the best on your EB1A journey. That's great. So what next?
Absolutely. So the next question is from Sreekant Z. They said, "Hey Mario, how do you guys at the Next League align a client's long-term career aspirations with the immediate requirements for an EB1A petition?"
Mario, I love this question actually, because the goal of a Next League program is definitely not, to place somebody into just EB1A actually. It's about taking you to a next level of your career growth, where EB1A becomes a milestone in the journey. So what we try to do, and I am happy to kind of elaborate further, and Sreekant, you are happy to kind of come back to us, and we'll talk more about it. You see, the whole idea in EB1A is that, your petition, when you are making, the journey that you undergo to make a petition makes you a more evolved professional. That's the first step that you have to do. Of course, we are not having engagement currently with people who complete the EB1A, except there are few people who are working even deeper from their career aspirations perspective. But fundamentally, the way you have to work in terms of your, let's start with your time management. In terms of the jurisprudence that you learn, you sharpen your expertise. We don't teach you, for example, we don't teach you your expertise. For example, if you're a computer science, if you're an AI expert, if you're a clinical trial, we don't teach you that subject, but definitely we will try to kind of help you how to present yourself. You learn that art of articulation. You learn this, and the skills that you use here in the program, and if you apply it elsewhere, they will be beneficial to you even outside your EB1A scope also actually. And third is how to present yourself. You understand the dynamics of the entire legal jurisprudence. And you see, there are two things which I find in today's world, if you have to be successful. And if you see, all CEOs, all top leaders, top managers would have this particular skills. Understanding of finance. And I can vouch for this because I've seen most of the people who are successful, they have a grip on understanding the nuances of finance. I do come from a financial services industry. I was CEO for Financial Planning Standards Board. So I know how intense it makes. And second is understanding the jurisprudence. If you are, your very existence where you are living right now, I mean, the country where you are living in, the company where you are working in, the industry where you are in, if you understand the dynamics of a law, or your expertise for that matter, you would reach the top end of your field. Let's take a demonstration here. You take a best expert in any field. I love to give this example. Hypothetical. Let's take a case of Elon Musk. Let us say, for example, he would not only be a technical expert. Let us say we'll talk about autonomous vehicles, or you talk about space travel. Or, for example, he started PayPal. So in terms of finance, he would also be aware of a dynamics of the legal jurisprudence of that particular field of expertise. So in this program, what happens is that as you are embarking on the EB1A journey, you understand the dynamics of laws that govern your expertise also. And the moment you understand the dynamics of that, suddenly you elevate yourself to the next level. And once you're able to do that, your career aspirations. Today, if you see any CEO, anybody for that matter, any top end of the company, and you would always see that their understanding of law of that particular company would be very good. would be extremely intense. Not only that, they would be influencing possibly. You look at Google, you look at Microsoft, you look at, OpenAI for that matter. The people who are heading these organizations would have a very deep understanding. We call it five pillars actually here. So there is something called as body of knowledge. There is something called as legal and who are the influencers. That's the second. Then we talk about associations and organizations. The next would be the laws, and the next last would be the public relations and media. We basically try to cover you all these aspects here. Actually, the moment you understand the granularity of it, and you are able to grasp that particular subject at a highest order, I think you will EB1A will just come to you. Actually, that's what our conviction is, and most of the people in the program would follow this path to kind of endure themselves across these five pillars of your expertise, and they would get it. I really love this question, and that's how I think your career aspirations, because your career is not just to get a green card. The career is your goal is to kind of be more progressive in your career, and this program can help you from that particular aspect. I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely, thank you. So our next question is from Raja T. He said, "What one piece of advice would you give someone just beginning their journey towards building an organic EB1A profile?"
It's a very simple question, actually, and I like the simplicity of this question. What advice? I would again go back to the previous thing. Actually, don't just aim for your EB1A. Aim how you want to become a better professional. So, in this particular case, what you should be doing is that, okay, let's say, for example, you're starting your EB1A journey. Create a persona of a person who would be the top expert in your field. I mean, I think the biggest challenge here it becomes is to identifying your expertise for the purpose of EB1A, but that's not the question here, what we are trying to do here. But this is a stage where we tell our students that, okay, how would a best person in your field of expertise would look like? That's the first step. Don't even think about EB1A at the first go, actually. So if you are able to articulate that to that extent, okay, fine, this is how the expertise will look like. Whom are you benchmarking, essentially? And don't have to mimic that person. But how would you like your journey? How would you like to capture certain things? We do an exercise with the person, with everybody in the program when they kind of join the program. They spend 15, 20, 30 days. We try to identify the gaps between where person is and where a person wants to be. And that can shift over a period here and there. But again, I think at a point of time, you will realize that you are already EB1, actually. That's what it happens with most of the people. And I think I'm taking this question and the previous question to totally connected, because EB1A cannot be, and a green card cannot be an end in itself. You cannot fit to get EB1A. You have to become that person of excellence that EB1A green card warrants. And if you are able to do that, I think then there is a true success in you. And if you are interested, then only the next league program is fruitful for you. If you're solely looking only for EB1A green card and not a career progression, not becoming the best version of yourself, then this program would be of course, this can still help you, but you won't be able to get the full benefit of the entire, all aspects of the program. So Mario and Sia, I think that's all we have for today. So I hope this makes sense. And so friends, if you have any questions, please write to Mario and Syria. We'll be happy to take up those questions for you. And if you want to join the Next League program, again, reach out to us. We'll have a link that will advise you what to do. And wonderful, and wish you all the best. And thank you, Mario and Syria, for joining me today.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any further questions or need personalized guidance, please reach out to us. We are here to help you every step of the way in your journey towards achieving your American dream. Let's connect and make it happen together.